Tonight's podcast is sponsored by Foxy Faces Spa in Glendale, the Valley's go-to spot for facials, massages, lash extensions, makeup, and full-body waxing for both men and women. They are located at 51st Avenue and Union Hills. You can get half off your first wax treatment. You can reach them at 602-300-4044. Also, their website is www.foxyfacesspa.com. They're also on Instagram and Facebook. Book your appointment today, as you deserve to treat your beautiful you.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Heather McPherson. As you follow the path of awakening and enlightenment, perhaps a move is part of your next step in your journey. I hope that you'll take a moment to reach out and see what Heather can do for you. Heather McPherson of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services of Arizona Properties is an active member of Phoenix Metaphysical Community and a realtor. She understands your needs and honors sensitivities that are so important when selecting your space to call home. Whether selling, buying, or renting, Heather will be there to personally walk you through the process, from qualifying to closing to beyond. Call or text her at 480-203-8712. That number again, 480-203-8712. To connect with Heather today. Equal housing opportunity.
Tonight's podcast is also brought to you by Harry Kroner, catalyst of spiritual awakening, with offices in Scottsdale, in Prescott, and online. Please visit harrykroner.com for more information.
Welcome to Beyond Today. This is episode 13 of the Rod and Cindy podcast. I'm excited to be here. How's everybody doing out there?
Really good.
Hey, good. Glad to hear you guys. That's awesome. Welcome back, Harry.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again.
Absolutely. So this is episode 13, I was told, which is awesome. I was told by I don't know how many people. It's pretty cool to have episode 13. You know, what was the name that we decided that we're going to call this podcast?
Cosmic Beings.
Cosmic Beings. Yes, that's right. We had a helpers, cosmic helpers. Oh, thank you. The crowd actually helped us out in that because there are cosmic helpers out there. I love it. Cosmic helpers. All right, remember that, guys. So I thought it was going to be Harry Met Cindy.
Hey, Harry.
Hey.
All right, went over better than I thought it was going to be. Boom. All right, my name is Rod Lyman, and welcome to Beyond Today. To my right, I have Zach Lyman, our producer. He puts the stuff together. Amazing young man. Thank you for being here, Zach.
Yeah, thank you, Zach, and your friend for helping as well.
All right, we have a wonderful editor that goes through these and listens to this. He's a great guy. He's a good editor, a great editor, actually. I really appreciate all his hard work that he puts into these wonderful podcasts for us. To my left is I have the beautiful goddess, the wonderful, wonderful Cindy Luby.
Yeah, thank you, Rod. And left meaning your feminine side, so I'm on the right side for sure. Yes, lucky 13, the goddess number. So hail to all you beautiful goddesses out there. And I don't care what y'all say, but as far as Friday the 13th and anything 13, if you think superstitious, it's actually stupidstitious.
Nice. And who do you have to your left, feminine side?
Yes, to my feminine side, I have Harry.
Harry, have you met Cindy?
Not Harry armpits. I have Harry.
Pleasure to be here again.
Yes.
This is Harry Kroner.
Who do you have to the left of you, Harry?
We have Dr. Mike next time.
Yep, I'm Dr. Mike Hageman. I think we call me Dr. Mike because you have another Mike that does podcasts with you, and that's
right,
Mystic
Mike.
Mike.
Yep.
Mystic Mike. So
Yep.
I'll be Dr. Mike.
Yes,
so,
okay.
Glad to be with you all. It's nice to be back in Phoenix, a sunny, warm Phoenix.
Yes,
111 degrees today.
Oh,
Yeah.
Another 111 day. 2 days in a row. Awesome. 2 weeks in a row. Nice. I love it. So thank you. How's your practitioner job doing? proctologist. Sorry, what was it?
I really don't. Sometimes I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay,
Rod.
good.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
But I'm teaching at SWIHA right now. I've been teaching a course on universal law. I think what kind of fits in well with our discussion we had last week and what we're continuing on with tonight. So
right, we had that. That was really interesting. I have to bring this up and share a little bit. Mike and I had a couple weeks ago taught Karuna Masterclass, and in the Karuna Masterclass we talked about laws versus boundaries and rules and everything else in that. It's kind of interesting is that I was thinking about that tonight. The last time Harry was here, we were actually talking about that, about thinking about having laws and rules and everything else and that, and the complications between that. As we're growing and changing, in the fifth dimension, living in the fifth dimension and everything else in that, the rules start going away. It's more boundaries than anything. And I think that's really cool. So I just thought I'd bring that.
I'm sure we can bring that into our conversation too, the sense of what feels like a law here in this plane at this time, something that say, oh, this is the way it has to be. I think our leaps in consciousness take us into that realm of possibility. And that's something that we think of that the law of gravity, perhaps, or some, or even that's on the physical plane, but even things that feel like laws on the spiritual planes as well. They feel like they have to be that way, but then with what we're learning and we're experiencing, we leap beyond that into a realm of pure possibility, where in the higher dimensions we begin to see that, when we move beyond time and space, we move into this place where there's that holy instant, the instantaneous moment where a shift in perception allows us to go from not feeling whole to feeling, wholeness and wellness. That's on this plane. But it's, I think, Harry can he's looking like wants to leap in here too. But sense of as we move beyond our concept of law in this world, in this plane, that we experience possibility. We experience principles that we get to work with, and through our creativity, we have these amazing imaginations that instead of thinking that the realm of fantasy is maybe that's a pastime, something to distract ourselves. It really is the most creative that we can be. Is I think our purest source potential, God potential. There's this spirit potential that allows us through our creativity to see beyond our self-limitations. And law can be a limitation, if we treat it as such. And if we look at principles, that have perhaps a different vibration to that, it gets us into the realm of possibility where we can truly say, all things are possible.
Agree 100%. Right on with that. Harry, go ahead.
No, it's moving into principles and moving into understanding that when you raise yourself in a higher and higher place, there's no need for those thoughts that are negative or with ill intent simply do not exist anymore, and we move into just realms of openness between each and every individual. And allow me to move it into what we're discussing today, as we discuss with cosmic helpers, with other beings of higher vibration, of higher dimensions. They simply know, and they tell you that it simply is just love, just their wish to do well and help us on this earth, and help all of us that are moving into a greater and greater recognition that we are not alone.
Absolutely.
So, Harry, as we were kind of getting ready for tonight, just sharing some ideas in this framework of cosmic helpers, kind of giving us a starting place to talk. We thought, well, who counts as a cosmic helper? We have in this lifetime, I may experience what I would call a guide. I may experience angels, but I may also experience beings that might be on a different plane or different vibration that I don't know whether to call them higher vibrations or not, but that we might say are cosmic beings. And then you can read all kinds of books. I mean, if somebody's written books on the people from the Pleiades, or entities, yes, or beings from the Pleiades, or other star systems that are out there, how would you kind of talk about those kinds of helpers that are on the level of energy or spirit, and how do we begin to categorize them or experience them as cosmic?
Well, I think it's first of all a matter of perception, because some people are more comfortable with calling them simply angels or light beings, and I think it's a lot of what it is, and I think there's plenty of them out there as far as the different levels of vibration, expressions of higher dimensions, and it does come, I in my personal opinion, as sometimes just guides, and it's sometimes helpers. But when we start feeling of what is it that causes me, let me just give you an example of when I started really working, and well, I mean, say the other way around. When I start realizing that I'm working with other beings that are, you can say, from not of this earth, and that are from other civilizations across the universes, it was more of because I had my clients in altered states, and they were connecting. They were in the higher dimension. They were connected. They were seeing, feeling. And at first, when I saw just one of them, just one client, said like, "Oh wow, I feel it's like other beings here." Like one of them is like 18 feet tall and has like this features, or just see it as a light being that's very, very elongated with only 3 fingers, and it started describing different things. And at first I was like, well, it just sounds like it. I don't know if it was real or not, and I always kind of take everything with a grain of salt. But then when I started having more and more of my clients describe other beings and more of them, and it's like, well, you know what? Can I please speak to one of them, please?
Nice.
And then the more connected clients, I start channeling them. And then I've started realizing that they present themselves to me. And it's like, oh, hello, we are the Arcturians. And at that point I was like, you are who? Because I had no idea who the Arcturians are. I think that was several years back, and I just had no concept of who they are. But something that was quite astonishing that I saw is that they were like, we're so much higher vibrations than you guys are, that we have to raise even this vessel that we're using with you here in order to meet us somewhere in the middle, because they're the most advanced beings in this universe, and it was phenomenal to see. I actually saw that person vibrate, like not like physically, but actually like as if it's little waves, like as if she turned into a little wavy thing. And I was like, is this my trick of the eyes or something? But no, she was really becoming like half translucent. It was absolutely phenomenal. And of course, they're like, can we do this again, please? That's free on me. Because we just want to get more information. And I started getting more and more information. And I started catching those few talented colleagues and clients, and it's like let's explore a little further. Let's see what is the message. And it was almost universal that no matter what beings we have started to, and again, I really don't like to categorize, as we said, like to start labeling things. Oh, there's a Pleiades. Oh, there's a, without actually knowing or allowing it to be. But when I see this kind of experience, and they present themselves as, we are this, and we are here to send you a message of love. We're here to help you understand things, and then we ask questions about anything, about universe, and you see the level of answers are so. And again, the higher and higher the dimension, the more global their concept of things, and more, just higher and higher perspectives. So they really like they. At some point, like the Arcturians, they don't even understand our little problems, little nitpicking, little noise in our heads. They don't even get that because they're so high up there. And I'll give you another interesting story that I had. And it was I think that was the first time that I've really felt that I can connect with those beings. That was the first encounter. I had a client that we're doing some hypnosis, we're doing some past lives, and this client was experiencing a past life somewhere in the Americas, in a jungle. I think it was Peru or something, in an undescribed kind of time. But she was going into a kind of a mystical ceremony that they were doing, and they knew. And she's like, "Oh, we're going to connect with our friends, with our celestial friends," and that's how she calls them. And I was like, okay, wonderful. So let's see that and let you experience it, go through it, experience the connection. And that was my first encounter in which I was able to have people channel, and I was able to literally discuss and have a conversation with other beings. And of course, you can see right away that the tone changes, the pitch changes, the way the words that are chosen. I know because that was a friend of mine, and completely different than their regular vocabulary. So you can sense this is something different. and the information that came through was absolutely phenomenal. I can't remember, that was years ago, but and we lived a lot of it. So it started opening again, and I came, to be honest, in a fairly dense way of it in the beginning because I just knew nothing about it. And then more and more I start working with this. It's like we are around you. We're always helping you, helping your clients, helping them experience what they need to experience, helping them with their healing. And at that point, just call us and we'll help you. And then at that point, I start calling them and calling all the wonderful beings, light beings that are here to our highest good. Please come and help with this person. And suddenly I see that my clients realize that, oh, I feel the presence of other beings. Oh my God, I feel them touching my hands. I feel them touching my feet. I feel like, oh my God, it feels so good, so much energy. And I realize, wow, they are helping. They're healing them. There's actually healing taking place here. I'm a witness to it.
Well, I love that. Not just for. I mean, I felt that as you spoke it, so it's like there's a lot of this energy around it. There's 3 Blue Star Masters that's sitting up here with you. And it's working with celestial energy, the Blue Star is. And part of the celestial beings, the energy is that we understand where this energy comes from. And it's beautiful that how you described it and touching and you work with it and everything else. But there's such a thing in our Blue Stars. We talk about the Pleiadians, the Sirians, and the Great Bear. Now, the Great Bear is the Big Dipper, the tail of the Big Dipper, because that's where the bear, its tail is and everything else. But it makes a triangle. And within that, they believe it's the mother, the father, and the Christ consciousness that comes from there, which is the Great Bear, which then comes down to us, to Earth, and that through different types of planetary satellites and everything else, and that, such as Gemini's right upon the Mercury, and it's just kind of a cool little concept about how this energy gets here. But there's also beings that go with this, and there's energy that is beyond that. And for myself, I love the channeling of the celestial beings. But to watch a female like Cindy that channels this beautiful beings from outer space and that, it changes her. I mean, she is not the same person. There's actually one of the beings in that, I can't remember the name of it right now, but speaks with such a deep voice that it's something Cindy can't do, and it comes across and it's like, and it's very deep, and it's coming from it's from deep inside of her, and she channels this, and she physically changes in the body in that.
Why don't you tell us a little more about this, Cindy? How does it feel to experience that?
Yes, exactly. That's where we're getting to. Yes.
Well, when I'm in the moment, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes. So when it does come through, it's, in fact, it even just happened recently again. It's in the depths and the pit of my gut, this voice wants to come out, but I'm also, vibrating. So I feel like I'm definitely, on a higher plane with all the vibrations that are happening. But yeah, this voice just comes out and it just speaks whatever it wants to speak, and like Rod said, it's kind of a deep voice, but it's not scary and It's not dark or anything like that. It's just whatever wants to talk is from the depths within. So it's pretty cool though. And the messages are pretty neat as well.
Do you even remember when you're channeling this? Do you remember channeling these celestial beings? Do you recall what it felt like to channel them?
I'm going to say kind of half and half, because a part of me is shaking so bad and so hard and vibrating so much that I'm trying to control that or be with that, and yet allowing all this other to come through. When I would get channels, it was very harsh. It was very strong.
It was almost a trance channel when you channeled. Mm-hmm. Yep. You lost all control of her body and everything else. So that's some of the stuff that is very interesting, but the feel that you get is amazing. I mean, go ahead, explain to them that, because it's such a bliss, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Once I'm in that moment and everything is a little bit calmer or coming out of that moment, it's so true. It's very, very, very blissful. It's the best high that you can ever have in your whole life. And you don't ever want to leave it. And that's the thing. You don't want to leave it, but it happens. It goes away after a while.
Well, I'm sorry. everybody here on this panel channels, and then I've got to see each and every one of you guys channel, and it's beautiful. You know, I know myself that people say that when I channel, I physically change when I get in front of people. But I've watched Mike change so often, you know, when he changes in his channeling, and Harry, you too. When you speak, just like last week last podcast, when you speak your passion, you channel it, and it's so fluent and it's so beautiful. And that there for a while, that your voice, even your accent, kind of goes away.
Yeah.
It's awesome. But Mike's, he rolls his eyes almost to the back of his head. It's like he's looking inward to himself. You know, it's like, here I come, and then he kind of. It's really interesting that Mike changes a lot. You know, when he channels, it's beautiful to watch. You know, don't get me wrong. I'm not, but I'm very observant on that because I've always been curious. I've never got to look in a mirror when I channel, so I get to see you guys channel, and I get to watch that, and it's very awesome. But you know, each one of you have a distinct way of channeling, and it's beautiful. I can feel and see it.
Mm-hmm. I know recently with some of my channeling, like especially the open heart meditations, I'm in front of the person and Rod is behind them, so we're both touching the person to help open up their heart and let them heal at the same time to go send them home. But we've been noticing lately with me that there's been this huge energy that comes through, and it's a very focused energy, and some amazing things are starting to come through. And I think it was said by Harry a little while ago that certain things come through or certain channelings come through for that person for a certain reason. And we're starting to, we are starting to really experience that a lot because I don't know, different things are coming through.
Absolutely. Mike, do you know who you're channeling when you channel? Harry, do you know when you're channeling when you channel? I'm going to go one by one.
Right, but just beginning tonight, it's actually funny. I was sitting doodling, and this the same letter kept coming up while I was doodling, and I didn't even think about it until I looked down at the paper and I saw, the letter R, and the letter R stands for a certain guide whom I've known for 25 years, and and I could really feel him present. It's an energy that's very familiar. It's like an old friend that comes, and it's funny. It's because it's on a physical level, an emotional and mental, spiritual level too. It's a vibratory thing. It's just it's a knowing that somebody is here, and that person is in a pure state of consciousness. Insofar as like everything that comes through is pure, it's knowing, it's compassionate, it's loving, and his very presence shifts my vibration and the energy around me in the room. I mean, it's just I can feel him when he comes through, and it's a sense of what I was thinking about here is that people thinking out there going, they're talking about channeling. What are they talking about? For me, it's a sense of that I'm sharing space with somebody else that's in a way that's benefits me and everyone around me. If I'm working with somebody doing Reiki energy work and I feel this presence, it's a sense of I know the energy is going to get revved up here. And that things are going to shift.
Right.
And that's what it's always a sense of, thank you for showing up and kind of contributing to that. Because I'm thinking about that whole sense of being a trance channeler, all that is like, where's my identity go? Where's my identity in the midst of this? And is this celestial being part of me? And that's one of some of those big questions. It's because ultimately, yes, it's because we're part of these. I think I'd heard Harry say something like this before, but it's a sense of the higher we rise in our vibration through dimensions, we begin to see our deeper and greater connections to all of life. Mm-hmm. So here we are, 4 different people sitting here. We have an audience sitting out here. At the moment, we're experiencing ourselves different from one another. But on these higher planes, eventually we'll see each other as all connected. And that's what my experience of cosmic helpers is, that yes, at some point they feel like a separate identity, and at the same time it feels like, this is another aspect of myself. I mean, and it's hard to say because it's both of those things at once. And I feel more myself when one of these cosmic helpers is present. And it's kind of strange to say. It's like, oh,
No,
yeah, this
it's
is
not. No, not strange. No, absolutely
Yeah.
not.
I'll let Harry jump in here.
Yeah, same question too, Harry. To you, you had some
well,
stuff,
it's I want to kind of continue that and realize that it is expression. Some of them are expressions of higher self. Some of them are colleagues and friends that we have. As I worked more and more in this field, I realized that obviously I have lived in many different civilizations out in the galaxy, and most of us has. We're not only starseed, we're star beings ourselves that have volunteered to come here on this Earth and do this mission. And I've been plenty of lifetimes on Earth too, but we are first of all light beings, and that have experienced life on not only this Earth and many other places. And they mentioned something like good. So at some point, lately actually, I asked. So who are the people who are working for? Where are they from? Because some people who are a little more attuned and open, so like, I see some people from, there's some Sirius. I see some Pleiadians with you. I see some Arcturians with you. And it's true, I work with a lot of them. But so where are they from? And I asked like, so where are they really from? And it said like, well, right now you have at least 33 people working with you every time you work, and they're all from so many different places, and every one of them have lived in many different civilizations across the universe. So it's like actually kind of a moot point to ask where are they from, because they're from so many places, just like you. And so I was like, it's okay. and all of them have come to play, and they changed, and guides change and move on, and lately, I've been working with more of just aspects of the higher self, more and more aspects of my higher self, and the we that we are in the higher councils and different levels of my soul, of my soul, oversoul, source. It all comes to the same thing, and all the different parts have experienced different things. But it was interesting to make a connection, because a lot of people who saw me like, hey, I see a ship around you. No, a spaceship. Mm-hmm. And it was ridiculous, because it was like within a period of like a month or two, it was like almost every other person that was a little more perceptive have said that. I see a ship around me, like hovering right behind me, at the same place, like right behind my right-hand side. So I was like, okay, there's something to it. So obviously I opened the connection, and I got a little more guidance on it. And not only, I like to get confirmations about things, because we feel like we're making all this up. And suddenly I got some confirmation from other people that I actually am connecting to other aspects of myself that is right now as a commander of a starship above the Earth. It is a parallel life of me and a much higher aspect, much higher dimensions, of course, that is actually a commander in a starship, and is doing that work and working. And it's like, so all of us and all of our, again, our mission as a soul right now is all of our aspects and all of our higher dimensions is working on this process of ascension. So it really is a group work. And realizing that I have, and again, that starship commander is obviously not of Earth. So it doesn't, at some point it's like, it feels like, wow, it doesn't matter. They just come here to help. And it's just, they're different expressions, and they're just they're so excited and so glad to be able to help us in whatever work they can and assist. And it is millions of them surrounding the Earth and helping us as individuals and as a group. So it's just a pleasure.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Cindy, same question to you.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Would you like to buy a vow?
Yes.
When you channel, do you know where it comes from or what it feels like? Where it's coming from or who it is? Is there a name that you're channeling?
No, I don't know where it's coming from, except that it's definitely in a different place with a higher vibration. Yeah, I don't know. I just know the goddess within, and she's beautiful. And sorry, I'm not really sure, because it comes through so strongly that I can't even focus sometimes.
Okay, panel. That's a question I'm going to ask.
It doesn't really matter.
Exactly. It doesn't really matter. There's some that are annoying, right? And it's just annoying, and it doesn't matter where it comes from. It's like, well, we have to have some in between, so we have to make it a label. It's like, okay, I'm going to start channeling. Well, it doesn't really matter, because whoever's going to come through at the right time is going to come through. And then I have a hard time believing that we can pick and choose who we're going to channel at the time.
Well, we pick it on a different level of awareness and consciousness, and definitely not in this level.
Right, absolutely.
This is the most limited level of consciousness we experience. So it is really it's just not, doesn't matter. And most of them really just say, like, we don't have a name, or we don't have a label. They're just like a vibratory frequency, most of them. And it's just doesn't matter. They just go without a name. But something that was interesting that I did receive lately was receiving my soul name, and that was like a unique experience to do. And that was, again, more of a recognition of who I am as a being, as a multidimensional being that is resonating on a specific frequency. And that was just to enhance my ability to do that.
Well, that's interesting. Can you share your soul?
Oh yeah, it's at first that was an interesting process, because it was a process that took over a couple of months. It wasn't something like
right, absolutely,
one word, yay. It's everything we talk here about. It's something that took years to develop and master. And as I was receiving that, I was receiving like in different syllables,
right,
in different like unique syllables, and I just allow it to be what it is. And when I received the name fully, and I knew, like, okay, this is it. This is the full name. And I got a confirmation from another friend that actually she's Channel's Pleiadian, and they were telling me, like, okay, you need to work on this a little more, and this is it. This is it. You got it. This is the name. And then I was like, okay, what does that name mean? It's Ananta. And I was like, I've never heard of that before. And so I Googled it. Like everybody would do, and of course some stuff, and I realized, it's an Indian, I guess in Sanskrit, in ancient Sanskrit, it means Sanskrit, it means endless, infinite.
Oh, okay. Really?
Yeah. Nice. And I was like, oh wow, here I am, another person that just uses like the Indian names to sound a little more fancy. I was like, I just don't want to be in that category, but here it is. It's something I did not really know what it meant. I did not know what it symbolizes, so it makes it even more real in that way, because it just comes.
You remind me of something that happened a few months ago. We were having a Reiki share here at Beyond Today, and I think Cindy was working on me, or I was working on her. I don't remember, but something.
I was working on you.
You were working on me, and all of a sudden the word acharya came into my head. Yeah, acharya. And I knew it was a word, and I knew it was Sanskrit, but I didn't know what it meant. And I knew it was for Cindy. I knew this was a word for her. And so I told her, I said, a voice came and said, Acharya, Acharya, tell Cindy she is Acharya. No. And so we had to look it up after the Reiki. We had to all pull out our phone. We had to Google that too. And I think, what did we come up with for that one?
It was the knowledge.
So the keeper of knowledge, wasn't it?
Yeah, guru, teacher, keeper of knowledge.
Keeper of knowledge. And so it was kind of, I love that when information comes through and I go, I have no idea, I didn't know there was such a word, but I have this, I know we're going to find it. And so.
I got to add to that, Mike. Mm-hmm. Something you didn't know, and I don't think we've ever shared with Mike, is that Cindy had been channeling before that the keeper of knowledge. Mm. That was coming deep out of her. And when I asked, who are you? He says, I am the keeper of knowledge. And interesting is that then a week later we have that Reiki share, and you keep hearing that over and over and over. So here's a validation for you.
Yeah, that's cool. So yeah.
Read it, honey. Go ahead and read it outside.
It just says it's an instructor in religious matters, founder, leader of a highly learned man, educator, pretty much.
Very good. Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, Cindy, do you know what your soul's name is?
Cinderella?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, my gosh. I'm going to throw that shoe away.
I know. I don't believe, unless it's what Dr. Mike gave me.
Well,
I'm going to go with that for right now.
Absolutely, but that's part of that. But you've had many different names, like as Zoe come out through, and
oh my goodness, yes, Zoe, definitely, and which means life. Yep, absolutely, eternal life, right? Yes. Mm-hmm. Zoe, we've had.
Oh my gosh, there's
well,
so many of them.
I just want to add this too. I've had people tell me, and as I think a lot of us have experienced, people say, for example, when I was on the Reiki table, say, "Oh, Kuan Yin is around you," or "Mother Mary energy is around you," and I think that's so beautiful, because I believe that they're there, whether or Jesus, whoever it is, they're there to, I think, heal me, but also for me to have that energy within me, so that I can share it with others and heal others with that energy. And I believe that once it's within me or around me, it's there to stay. It's like I'm gathering all these beautiful divine energies from whatever source it comes from, and it's just gathering up inside of me. And when it needs to come out, it will. And that's what I've been experiencing when I've been working on people, or Rod and I. Certain things are coming out for certain people. It's not the same anymore. Right. And I find that to be very, very, very interesting.
Mike, do you know your soul name?
I don't, but I'm trying to think back. I went to a channeling. Actually, this was back in the late 80s, early 90s, a channeling here in the West Valley in Phoenix. And we were, what a kind of thing where there were 30, 40 people gathered, and you could ask one or two questions of the person channeling, and they were channeling celestial beings. But I can't remember if I asked if it was my main soul guide or my own name, and I can't remember what was the name. I have a name, and I can't remember if it was the guide or me. But anyway, so I'm intrigued as well, because I think a name is a vibration,
right?
And to get that name would help me to connect, link up my experience of the here and now in this plane with the different levels of my soul, and the name kind of it's like a trigger that helps to align and connect, and that's my understanding, at least, of what knowing the name could do. Would say it allows me to, to bring everything into alignment, a vibrational alignment, so that I can be my highest and best on this plane, and bring through whatever energy is for the highest and best.
I'm with Cindy on mine. I've gotten two names that was given to me in two different settings, also channeled and said, "This is your name and in this your soul name." First one was Geronimo. Geronimo. It's like Native American. Okay, I'll take that. It's like, and so. But I had to look up and read more about him. I'm from South Dakota. Grew up near a reservation, and I understand Native. I understand Native American stuff, and then Geronimo. It's like, oh my gosh, really? There's a lot of good stuff. But the second one kind of really got me is that this lady that she grabbed me after she was channeling that, and she grabbed me so hard that it left bruise marks on my arm. She says, "You're Jesus. You're Jesus." She says, "It's in your eyes. It's in your aura. It's everywhere around you. You're Jesus." And I'm like, okay, I'm Jesus. Thank you.
Bless you.
Yes, exactly. So, but so what are these names? And like Mike just explained that. What are these names for us and who we are? And that it doesn't mean that I am Jesus, but it's the energy of Jesus.
Yes, you're holding an aspect of that Christ consciousness, as you mentioned.
Absolutely.
And that's a part of it. And from what I understand is that in the past that consciousness have entered the earth through Jesus, and a couple others followed to bring a certain energy, and now it decided that it was going to simply come to many.
Right.
And that will help and to create a greater spread of this consciousness. Mm-hmm. So it is not unique. You're not like the only Jesus, of course. Right now, there's actually thousands of Jesuses, and it's Absolutely. A beautiful thing. And I think that's the best thing. And I think that's really was the message of his, that we're all sons of gods. We're all part of that. We're all doing this. So it's a beautiful
The second coming was going to be a group effort.
That's right. And it's a group effort.
Exactly.
But as we talk about the different elements and different helpers that they come and do this, it comes in different ways too. And again, I want to emphasize that they are all around us and they are assisting us, even whether we are aware of it or not. And I want to take away the fear. People have fear and have a lot of that fear of all the abduction phenomena, all that different things, and realize that this is different beings. These are beings of light, which are to our highest benevolent good, and are for here to help us in the best of ways. This is not the same as what other experience. And I wanted to make sure that people understand that there's a difference. There's between that kind of a message and help. And these are people who are dedicating themselves to helping us, to heal us, and move us to a different place. And again, I'm not personally very aware of all of them and can see them and feel them as much. I can sense them, but I can't. And I can really connect with their consciousness. That's my gift. And I can speak with them very clearly within me, telepathically, but not. I don't see them. Some people are more visual in that way. and they can see them and they can describe it. And when I get, again, confirmations, like 5-6 people tell me, like, oh, I see this kind of being behind you.
Right.
I was like, okay, that's probably true by now, because it's the people who have no idea and they start saying again and again. And it just feels beautiful. And there was one time I did get a name from a being, from someone who knew it, and it's eventually like, it's close enough, but just call me Essie. Because the name I pronounce it, again, some words or some, even like any kind of human language will not describe that particular pronunciation, a particular word. Just call me Essie, and that's fine. And it was fun, because I worked with my 18-foot female friend who was assisting me and giving me guidance on how to help people, what's the best thing to do next for that person. And actually doing some healing herself, and people who are in that altered state always say like, "Oh, I feel like three people around me." Feel like, no, that many people around me, and like, that's wonderful. They're here to do this work, and here to do this helping. So they're all around us. They're supporting us. They're just doing it through their dimension, through their level, which is the important part, because it trickles down to us here, and moves us further up.
You made me. Now I'm tongue-tied. You gave me an idea thinking about, when we work with celestial beings, how it is that earlier you said this to Harry, but you said something about the celestial beings aren't always aware of all the petty things that we are dealing with. I mean, from our perspective, they could be petty. I mean, the smaller things of life, our worries, our wars, even, but one of the things I became aware of is sometimes celestial beings aren't always aware of what it's like for us to be in the physical frame, and their working with us can tax our physical frame. I mean, at least so what do you say would be when working, if somebody's like, well, I'm intrigued about this, I don't know what is going on here, but how would you give, what's your perspective on working with celestial beings and keeping our own physical health, physical, mental, emotional health, in working with celestial beings?
Well, I'll give an example that after, like, for example, a couple of expos and stuff like that, but which I call upon a lot of them, and a lot of them are there to help and heal as many people as possible. I feel a little, in the beginning, because I didn't know how to handle it perfectly. And I wanted to see a friend, I was like, wow, I really feel drained. And they're like, oh, they're coming in too strong, they're actually kind of tearing your aura. And I realized, oh, I guess that's what it is. And she helped me heal the aura, whatever it is she was able to do so beautifully. And I did it for you, Cindy, once.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
So it's phenomenal. It does happen when they come, and their energy is so powerful that it does does a number on our little bodies here and our little energy system. So it's important to keep and for me it was like remembering not to like, oh yeah, bring it on. But actually saying like, okay, make sure that it's gentle and it's not going to be harsh on the body, and actually request that and do that, and make sure I am always surrounded, always protected, again in the best way through light and support. So,
absolutely. Can I say a couple things real quick? Thank you. First of all, thank you, Michael, for sharing my Acharya name. It's very beautiful. And you mentioned something about names having a vibration to them, and I didn't think about that, but you're absolutely right, of course. And so it made me think, ooh, I'm going to go home now and do numerology on it, see what number it comes up to be, just out of curiosity. Also, I just wanted, you were mentioning your 18-foot friend or friends. I real quick want to share a story with Rod and I. We experience all kinds of crazy, fun, cool stuff. Anyway, so there was this one evening, we just got done with dinner. I was sitting in my car, and Rod was standing, and I'd parked next to him. He was standing by his truck. So looking at him, I was facing west Phoenix, from Phoenix. So we were talking, and all of a sudden on the left side of his shoulder, I could see this outline of this man, like in dark, and he had, I think, maybe a hat on or something, normal size, right? Like standing behind his shoulder. Also, and so Rod went around his truck to get into his truck. And as he was walking around and away, that being grew from a normal, man size, average size, to huge. It filled the whole western sky. I was like, oh my gosh, I totally watched it grow like a balloon, a balloon going from flat to just blowing up. Filled the whole western sky. And before I saw the man, or this vision, or this entity, I guess, there was a purple haze. Gives a whole new meaning to purple haze, I'm sure. And the whole purple haze and mist was there the whole time that this was going on. And as he floated out into the sky and the universe, it was just simply like, oh my gosh, I've never ever seen that before.
Anybody have anything to say about that? I mean, we've thought of some different things, what we thought it was, and everything else. What do you think?
Well, usually the greater the being, it's just a greater expression of, sometimes it's like just higher and higher levels of expressions of it could be like a level of gods and Elohim and all those the different beings that archangels appear in that size. Entities that have been around for a long time and are able to do this stuff. So it is definitely a being of very higher magnitude, I would say, because it is about the magnitude, about their influence, about their immensity. Is a lot of it is about their ability to influence their environment. It's the size of their consciousness as it expands and a realm of influence. So the greater the being, again, not necessarily so, but it is just usually is that case.
Well, we've seen it since then many times and everything with the purple haze and everything too, and it's pretty amazing to see it. I mean, we've actually watched it come up over a mountain and take over the whole sky and that. Since then, Cindy has seen big heads on her ceiling, a big baby. And that. There's just some huge.
Everything's large.
Yeah, it's just
like extremely large.
It's just over. Yes, Zach's doing the finger thing about wrapping this up and everything else. I'm sorry, we're not going to get any questions out there. We need to get this wrapped up and put to bed tonight. Amazing night. I love this. That went so fast. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Mike, you got anything coming up here that you want to?
But no, just my life down at the Southwest Institute of Healing Arts. Always teaching classes there in spiritual studies. So I can highly recommend the school and its program there. So that's a big part of my life down there.
Some amazing people that have come out of there and that are part of it. Casey Miller, a dear friend of mine, and everything else. That there's some big people that I'd love to say hi to. That Harry, what do you got coming up?
I've got a class. I'm teaching Marconics, and you can check it out, marconics.com, and sign up for the class that's coming up in October 1st and 2nd here in Scottsdale. And the source of the cosmic being that is, you can say, in charge of that Marconics is Grace Elohim, one of the Elohim level beings, cosmic beings, which are really phenomenal in their reach and and ability to do and transform us. So that is the source of that.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's coming October 1st and 2nd.
October 1st and 2nd. Awesome. Cindy, what do you got coming up here?
All kinds of stuff. My life is not boring whatsoever, but we do have a lot of beautiful things here at Beyond today. We got a fair. We have a color class that I'm teaching coming up in the fall here. And anytime you want to book an appointment and experience color along with that energy work, sign up. It's a beautiful thing. If you've never seen color before, you will after that session. Thank you so much, and it's a blessing to be here, and love to all. Thank you.
Yeah, if you want a session with Cindy, and that you can call 602-374-4926. What a great session. Many people can walk out of our session just like seeing color for the first time. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing. It's amazing work that she does. Especially you guys understand that she channels all these higher energies and everything else and that. And who knows what's going to come through when Cindy works on you, you know? Because I sure the heck don't. When I have no idea. It's like, who's with her now, you know? It's like, who's that? And so I can always tell when I channel, but Cindy doesn't always know when it's coming for her. So it's kind of fun to watch that. Sometimes it's like kind of like the odd couple. It's like, are you channeling or am I channeling? What's going on here? You know? We love Beyond Today. We love being here. We have a big classroom, and that we have a lot of different beautiful classes that come through here. You can check us out at beyondthe2day.com. That's beyondthe2day.com. It's a beautiful time here.
Yes, and there's a lot of beautiful practitioners that work here and do great work of all kinds of different things.
Check out the practitioners list and who is here at Beyond Today, and that there's great people, and that we've been coaxing and trying to get Harry to be here, and that it's just, Harry just finally met Cindy, so it's Harry met Met Cindy. So
on Lucky 13 podcast.
Yes, absolutely.
Pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. We're located at 11223 North 28th Drive, Suite F101, Phoenix, Arizona, 85029. If you care to sponsor one of the podcasts, give us a call here or come down here and check out our podcast. Right now we're doing them on Tuesday nights. We switch back and forth from Tuesday and Thursday nights now when we have the room. Thank you, Zach, for putting this together.
Thank you, Zach.
Zach Lyman. I'd like to say good night to everybody. Good night, Mike. Good night, Harry.
Good night, Rod. Good night, Cindy.
Good night.
Good night, Cindy.
Good night, Rod and gentlemen. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Good night, everybody out there. Everybody say good
And
night.
the audience, thank
Night.
you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Good night, John White.